Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Music by the Sea, downtown Victoria at the Victoria International Marina. And I'm really, really delighted to be able to announce tonight that we're going to do a series of 3 of these concerts in January and February and March. So I'm Christopher Donaldson. I'm the Artistic Director of Music by the Sea. For those of you that don't know too much about what Music by the Sea is, I'll be telling you more about that later. But right now I want to talk about really the purpose of what we're doing. And what we're doing is we are partnering with 4 different organizations: Music by the Sea, the Marina here, Victoria Hospitals Foundation, and Czech TV as a media sponsor. So I want to tell you that it's a wonderful example of cooperation between 2 charities that have come together, which is the Victoria Hospitals Foundation and Music by the Sea, and we're raising money that we will split evenly between the arts and the healthcare community here in Victoria. Now, I also want to tell you, though, that Music by the Sea is normally in Bamfield, British Columbia, and has been for the last 15 years, and we're gradually migrating now to downtown Victoria. So I'm very appreciative that you're all tuning in and listening tonight, and I'm unashamedly asking you to donate more than I normally would at a concert, but you can understand that both the sectors, the healthcare sector and the arts, are really challenged right now, and we're going through our sort of darkest part of COVID right now, we think, coming up to the next 3 months. So at least we're able to announce these 3 concerts, and the purpose is not just to raise money, it's also to keep music being played. The artists are so appreciative for a chance to perform, and we get to bring to the community of Victoria some really high quality concerts that everybody will enjoy. And you also need to know that later, after we've done the live streams, Czech TV is going to have an edited version which will be played on Channel 6 as a TV program. So there'll be another chance to see it again. Now I want to tell you about the artists and the music. And so tonight we have the Ryan Oliver Jazz Quartet and Hannah Craig playing solo cello. And what we're going to do tonight, the format is going to be in 4 segments. I'll speak, the quartet will play, I'll speak again, and Hannah will play. And what Hannah is going to play is the G major cello suite by Bach, the first suite in that series. And possibly, when you think about it, if you were in your car and you said, Google, play me a solo piece of cello, this is the one it would probably pick. This is the most well-known piece for solo cello that there is, as far as I know. The suites are all beautiful. And it's a great chance for Hannah to play the entire suite, but, you know, 1 movement at a time. So she'll be playing 1 or 2 movements in each section. But the first up, though, will be the quartet, and they're going to be playing some Gershwin right off the top, which is Summertime. And the reason I like that choice, Ryan, is because Summertime, when you think about it, written by Gershwin, was the original crossover artist between classical and jazz. And part of the mandate of Music by the Sea, when we're in Banfield and everywhere else, is to have both jazz and classical music on the concerts. And so Gershwin is a perfect poster boy, as it will, for the two genres coming together. And so tonight we'll really enjoy, I think, the counterpoint between you playing and Hannah playing the solo suite is going to be fantastic. So we can move on right now to listen to Ryan Oliver Quartet, and I'll tell you the members later. Wow, that's fantastic. The rest of the quartet is Tony Genge on piano, Alex Coleman on bass, and John Lee on drums. And we're all from the island, so we're not bringing anybody to the island because we are observing the strictest COVID restrictions we can, because we're affiliated, for one thing, with the hospitals, and we want to support everything that they're doing, of course. And so there is no audience in the room. And because of that, I must say that some of the streaming concerts are difficult because, you know, an audience is essential for live performance. The players feed off the audience and vice versa. So what we've managed to do here is when the quartet is playing, Hannah is their audience. And now when Hannah's going to be playing, they'll be her audience. And it really does make a difference. Now, there is one additional audience member, and that's Bronson here. Just, you know, he's going to be at all the concerts, just so you know. But he's a great audience member. He never says anything bad. But now we're going to turn to Hannah, and Hannah's going to play the first movement, the prelude of the Bach G major suite. And one thing I can tell you about Hannah is she would have been, in 2020, one of our fellowship artists at Music by the Sea. And of course, we had to cancel that. But Music by the Sea, this is a chance to talk about that program, is a festival and a mentorship program, and it's in Bamfield. And it starts off with the fellowship artist program, then the rest of the artists come to fill up the festival, and they overlap for a bit, and then the mentorship artists leave, and we have the festival. And in 2020, we were going to bring all of that downtown Victoria, but of course, that's on hold. But Hannah, as it turned out, just graduated from her schooling and landed herself a job at the Victoria Symphony. So Hannah's new to Victoria, and we're really lucky to have her in our community. So let's listen now to the prelude of the G major suite. So beautiful. I think I got a little bit of welling in my eyes there. I'll talk about the suite a little bit later and the other movements coming, but right now we're going to move right over to the jazz quartet again. But before I do, Hannah, that was absolutely gorgeous. And thank you. We're so fortunate, and I'm very, very happy and grateful to these artists that are lavishing such talent on these concerts for the community. And I do urge you to support us and tune in for all of them. And there'll be a series of 3 of them, and you can always follow us on our YouTube channel and on our Instagram and on our Facebook. And we look forward to building a real audience for these events as we go forward. So right now, I think Ryan's group is going to play When You're Smiling. And I think that's a great theme for what we should be doing tonight. Well, at least I'm doing it. I think it's great. Ryan Oliver, tenor saxophone. John Lee on drums. Alex Coleman on bass. Tony Genz on piano. We are having a great time, and it's just fabulous to be in this room with great music. I'm very lucky. We're all lucky. And now we're going to turn back to the cello suite, the famous Bach G major first cello suite. And just a bit of a word for you that might not know. These suites were based on dance forms from the Renaissance and Baroque period. And I was just having a little bit of a remembrance earlier tonight that when I was in my undergraduate years at University of Victoria, there was a gentleman named Eric Schwant who was a harpsichord player and a very eccentric character. And of course, he was totally into the Baroque period with the harpsichord, and he made us dance these dances. And we actually had to learn them, and it was very informative. It really instructed what the internal pulse should be or could be. Now, of course, the interpretation of these pieces has evolved over the centuries, of course, and so we don't have to play them exactly as if we could dance to them. But they represent dance forms from all around the continent at the time, so the Renaissance and the Baroque, and from different parts of Europe. And so the allemande and the courante are the two that you're going to play right now. Is that correct, Hannah? And the allemande is more of a duple meter. It's a heavier sort of German dance. You know, the Germans are a little bit heavier, more serious. And the courante is more of an Italian and French triple meter dance. So that's just information to know. And Bach really wrote these, I think, when he was about 35 years old. And they really are what's considered pretty much the pinnacle of his creative output, I think. So please listen to Hannah now playing the second and third movement of the suite. Thank you, Hannah. That was wonderfully beautiful playing, and that was the second and the third movement of the suite, and we'll be coming back to the rest of it as we go through the evening. What I haven't mentioned too much of so far tonight is how to donate, if you wish to donate, and the easiest thing to do is to go to our website, which is musicbythesea.ca. It's very clear. You'll see a button to donate online, and then there's another button if you want to get the information how to donate by writing a check. And so that's the best place to go for that. And we're going to move back to the jazz side of the hall again, and with Ryan's quartet. And this piece, I confess, I don't think I know it. It's Hushaby. Maybe I'll know it when I hear it, but it's apparently a Swedish folk tune. And let's see what you do with this Swedish folk tune. Thank you, Ryan. That's fantastic. Of course I know that piece. I just didn't know that title. I heard it a million times. It's fantastic. We're going to come back to the classical sphere here, but just before we do, I want to say a few things also about all the people involved. You know, it's an extraordinary collection of 4 organizations that have come together when you think about it. The Victoria International Marina here, where we're playing, right downtown in the Inner Harbor. Music by the Sea, of course. The Victoria Hospitals Foundation, and our media sponsor, Czech TV, or just Czech, as their logo says. But and it's been a wonderful spirit of cooperation amongst everybody to bring this together. So I want to thank all the people involved to do that. It took a lot of extra effort to bring it together, and I'm very happy it has come together, both for the artists, both for the community, and both for these 4 organizations, which will all benefit from what we're doing. And the other unmentioned crew is the Darcy Beck production team, which is here tonight. And that's all the cameras and the sound, and they're doing a spectacular job. And there's, I don't know everybody's name. I can't really tell you who they all are, but they're the most impressive crew you're going to find in the city. And these concerts that we've streamed, Darcy, I thank you. They've been so good. And I give you a lot of the credit for making it really an engaging evening for people to watch. So anyway, back to the cello world and the Bach suite. This next movement is the saraband, and it's similarly a dance form from the Renaissance, although this one I believe is more of a Spanish origin, so you would have found this in Spain more than anywhere else, and it's another triple meter dance form, and worth noting actually, and Hannah and I were just discussing this before the show, that you know, this piece was largely undiscovered until Pablo Casals, the great Spanish cellist, discovered it somewhere in a manuscript store in Barcelona, of all places. And he's the one that really brought it into the repertoire. And of course, he played it much more differently than it would be played today, because back then, you know, the way we interpreted music was much different. It wasn't, we've had a whole century of figuring out ways of playing Bach. And of course, Bach's music was mostly unknown at all until Mendelssohn found a bunch of manuscripts somewhere. So it's very interesting history to know where this music came from. And of course, it's, you know, one of my friends, we'll probably edit this out of the thing, but one of my friends, a good friend of mine, John Chandra, who's a surgeon in town, and he used to tell me way back in the day that the reason for the universe was for that there'd be stars, and then there'd be planets, and then there'd be people, and then Bach's music would be written, and after that, there was no point. That was the so that's the esteem with which we can hold the music of the great J.S. Bach. So now we'll hear Hannah play this saraband. Thanks so much. Thank you for that, Hannah. It was very beautiful. And more about the suite, the suites. It was also the period of time, I believe, that Bach also wrote the great partitas. It was about the same couple of years. And the prolific nature of his work at this time was unbelievable. And these pieces are amongst the best anywhere. So, notwithstanding what I said about my friend's idea about the purpose of the universe, it's just beautiful music, and it's amongst the most adored music that there is. But jazz, I love the complementarity that we can reveal between jazz and classical. This is a major part of one of our mandates at Music by the Sea, is to present both genres. I've been obsessed with this all my life, and I'm so fascinated by the idea that the classical musicians are so different from the jazz musicians, and the method of producing the music is so entirely different. And when I was back to my young university days, I remember being at university, and the classical musicians were in another dimension from the jazz musicians. And the jazz musicians could get up and play something, I was one of those few people that was sort of in both camps. And I would get up and I could play a Brahms sonata, or I could also get up and play a Count Basie tune in the stage band without any music in front of me. And my classical piano friends were perplexed how any piano player could get up and play without any music and not play any wrong notes. They just didn't understand. How could that be? And the classical players could not understand, for the life of them, how somebody could play a Brahms sonata today and tomorrow do it note for note exactly the same. I mean, how can that be? And there's such different approaches to music that it's always been my obsession to try and bring these worlds together in a way that one set of musicians can appreciate the other more, and vice versa. And then, of course, hopefully sometimes there's a crossover. And of course, Gershwin was one of those people who was one of the original crossover artists. And it doesn't mean that they're foreclosed from each other. I mean, a guy like Leonard Bernstein could play anything, so he was a great conductor of the New York Phil and a great composer. So says a lot about Music by the Sea's original sort of inspiration to bring these two kinds of approaches to music together, and to see that they're similar, but they're different, but they're not. They share things as well. And so now you're going to play, Ryan. What's next on the program? Oh, you're going to do the blues. Well, what a timely time to bring that up. And I'm here to tell you that the clock's going a little bit slower than we hoped. So you can take a few extra choruses here, my friend, and we're not going to be shutting you down. that first chorus of yours, Ryan, I thought you were going to run out of breath, but you just kept going. Wow. No, not even close. That was exhilarating. Well, thank you so much, you guys, for playing tonight. I can't tell you. So it's John Lee on drums, Alex Coleman on double bass, Tony Genge on piano, and of course Ryan Oliver on tenor saxophone. And we're going to finish up the evening by finishing off the Bach cello suite in G major with the last two sets of dances, two minuets and the final jig. And again, they're based on dance movements of Europe and the Renaissance. And the minuets, of course, we think of being, they're French, more elegant dances. We think of the court of Louis XIV, that sort of thing. And the jig, of course, comes from, UK and Ireland. So it's worth knowing that, the origin, that even back then, when you think about this, we think now we've got the internet and we know all about, and we think that they had no way of communicating back then. That's not true. People knew what was going on in different countries throughout Europe. And I've always been impressed by the fact that, by the turn of the century, if you wrote a song in Tin Pan Alley and it was a hit, this is like 1906 or something, it would be in London 6 days later. And it would be on the boat, it'd be printed, it'd be getting played on pianos everywhere. So the musical language was going back and forth through all of Europe, through all of the 300 or 400 years. So we've all been stealing a little bit from everybody. We've all been listening to everybody else's music, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that because we all gain something from that. Anyway, so back to the cello suite. This will finish off the evening, and before we start that, I just want to remind everybody that donating is possible and encouraged, and it will keep this going because we need to raise enough money to even just keep doing this. And on the part of Music by the Sea, what we're aiming to achieve is raising enough money for our mentorship program and the festival. And of course, for the Victoria Hospitals Foundation, they have a big campaign to create some new units for intensive care. And it's a great campaign. And I just want to do a shout out to Victory Broman, who's the executive director of the Victoria Hospitals Foundation, for really being open and inspired to help bring this together. So thank you, Avery. I know that you're out there listening right now. And so let's listen to some more Bach minuets and jig. Thank you, Hannah. That was a great performance of that suite that we all love. And we're coming to a close for the evening. So just a few closing things to say. That first of all, my hat's off to you great artists. Thank you so much for supporting us and playing. The community is the beneficiary, you know, we're going to replay these on the Czech television 6 weeks or so later, and it'll reach even more people. So this is what we're doing. We're bringing a lot of music to a lot of people, and it's really great, especially now when we can't do very much at all with the restrictions in place. But once again, the best place to find out about what's coming up next is at our website, MusicByTheSea.ca, and so we're announcing 3 tonight. The first one was tonight. The next one is February 21st, and it will feature Hannah again playing the second Bach suite, and the great Louise and her trio with Joey Smith on the bass and Kelby McNair on drums. So that's on February 21st. And then on March 28th, Ryan is coming back with the trio, and yours truly might make it a quartet once or twice during the evening. We'll see. And Hannah will play the third Bach suite. So it's a great trilogy opportunity for Hannah to present all 3 of those suites. And so I urge you all to follow us and tune in and donate as much as you can, because without the donations, you see, there's nobody in the room. We can't sell any tickets. So, and honestly, trying to charge people to watch a streamed concert is kind of difficult. Like, you know, I've had friends from all over the world sending me things that, I can watch if I pay 12 or 15 bucks. Well, I'm broke. I mean, I'm in COVID. I can't spend 15 bucks. I don't know. It's just, it's a hard thing to do. I think for, in pop music, for huge celebrity stars, people, yes, will pay to watch somebody that they know, you know, as a fan. But for our music, it's a little bit more difficult that way, and we really survive on tickets for a live performance in the room. And of course, that's what we can't have right now. So it's just me and Bronson, and and the artists being their own audience, of course. And once again, just thank you to the Victoria International Marina for being wise enough and open enough and generous enough to open up this facility to us. And, you know, when it first went up, I thought, ooh, that looks an awful lot like the facility in Bamfield at the Rick Center where we normally are in the summer. And I thought, this could be our twin place in Victoria. So I thank them very much, and particularly Greg Parrish. He's in the room in the back monitoring the fort here, taking care of the building. And Greg's wife is a frontline worker in the hospital. And this inspiration to do it with the hospitals was Greg's from the very beginning. So thank you, Greg, wherever you are. There he is. And I think that's it for tonight, and don't forget to tune in for the next ones and the broadcast. The broadcast dates will be on our website, so you can look for that there. And you know, Ryan, why don't you just play us out with a bit more of that blues, and then we'll just fade to black.